WMC Memphis, WMFS FM HD2 Bartlett Memphis. It's America's team. The Dallas Cowboys play here on ESPN 790 AM. The views and opinions of the hosts or guests of the following program do not necessarily reflect those of the management or staff of Intercom Memphis.
Watch the sunrise, new day's dawning, and it's calling you and me. Where the mighty Mississippi flows by Memphis, Tennessee. We've got woodlands, fields, and water. Hey, there is no better way. You can find out all about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Make some time, take the family, ask a friend, but don't delay. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray. Listen up and learn about it on Outdoors with Larry Ray.
Good Saturday morning and welcome to another edition of the award-winning Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790 AM. Brought to you proudly by Tennessee Wildlife Resource Agency, Barton Power Sports, Sportsman's Warehouse, Best Care Home Services, and DeSoto Outdoors and Archery. Now, here's your host, Larry Ray.
Hey, good Saturday morning. Welcome to Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790. This is Larry Ray's that I do every Saturday morning as we roll into our 16th year on the air. On this, the fourth Saturday of the month, October the 22nd, and that means that we'll have a bonus Saturday next Saturday. It will be fifth Saturday, and Gene Smith and Charlie Covington will be in the studio with us next Saturday morning. But being fourth Saturday, of course, John Gordon from Avery is here. Good morning, John.
Morning, Larry.
And, of course, once he gets all set up over there, Mr. Huck will be here. He's got sacks and all sorts.
That would be Hook.
I call you Huck. No, it's Huck Finn, because you're everywhere, So, and that you recognize that voice. It's Jimmy Houston. No, I'm sorry. No, it's Ron Wong over there.
Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Good morning, John. Good morning, Larry.
And we have Devin Walker is our show producer this morning, and Devin is a University of Memphis student, but he's wearing a wrong kind of shirt that ought to make Ron happy at least. I'm just.
What's he got? Right.
Look at that.
Hey, big hottie toddy to him. And by the way, congratulations to the Hogs.
I'm going to bring it up.
Week, hey, I'm not a sore loser.
I wasn't going to bring it up, but
that's okay.
That's okay.
Congrats, right. Larry.
Thank you, Ron. Good to have you. Do you have a show format over there? I can't remember if I gave you one.
I've got one in front of me.
All right, we're going to kick it all right off because we got a young man on the line with us right now that I met last year and struck up a conversation. I got to tour the facility, so to speak, right off Highway 64, right out of Somerville. And if you're looking for a deer processing place that is clean, and I mean clean, it's family operated, that's our good friend Scott Stengel from the Stengel Brothers Outdoors. And good morning, Scott.
Good morning, Larry.
Hey, buddy, I know that, the first time we talked to Scott, he brought food in here, and it was consumed.
Wait a minute, where was I?
You weren't here.
And here we are talking about food. We're not even 5 minutes into the broadcast.
Saturday morning, it's early and everything.
I know, I'm hungry now.
But I had some of the sausage the other day, and that's what reminded me, and I said, I got to call Scott. It's what.
All right, when are you going to get us a deer so I can have some deer sausage?
Well, we'll talk about that. My crossbow is ready, so.
How about the deer?
It's ready, too. Now that we got it. Let's get in it. Now, Scott, your business and everything like that. It's been dry. We finally got some cool weather. Tell our listeners, you were giving me some figures the other day compared to last year. How's it going?
Well, the kill numbers in the state, in our county and in Hardeman County, they're down. They were almost half the numbers that were killed at this time last year. I don't know if it's just due to the hot weather or not hunters out. We just don't know that. But last year was even slow. This year is even slower with kill numbers. So there's some concerns, but not too much.
Yeah, and I know that. Have you checked in any big deer? Have you seen any big ones that have come into your place?
We have had some big deer. We had last week we had a big buck came in, and it's kind of an oddity. It was a 156-inch deer, full velvet.
Wow. Yeah, full velvet,
and it was a hermaphrodite deer.
Oh,
believe it or not,
I know what that is.
Somerville.
I know what that is. All right,
right. It's one of those Caitlyn Jenner deers. Okay. I guess you could say.
Oh my! That's a real description right there. I'm sure it's
right.
But it is.
Yeah, there's been some big deer, mostly does, and all the deer look healthy around here. That's
what I want to ask.
We're looking for this year.
Yeah, because it's been so dry, and the two times that I've been. It's been dry, so we need some more rain too. I know that.
Right.
Well, tell our listeners a little bit about your operation there.
Well, we do a little bit different than most processors.
Yes.
We're gonna get your game, and we're gonna hang it in a refrigerated cooler for at least 5 days.
Y'all hear that? And he's gonna hang it 5 days.
Just get that meat dry when it gets to the cutting room, and just makes it a whole different process than what generally goes on at processors. So that in itself explains the taste of ours to others.
Yes, and this is a family operation, right?
Right. Yeah, my son started the business, and they have since they're in school. One of them's off in the military, so me and Mama got stuck with it, which is kind of a good thing. So it works out good.
And you really never leave your job. I mean, it's there where you live, right? Tell our listeners.
It is. We've got a facility. It's a couple hundred yards from our residence, so it makes it pretty easy for us. We've got a drop-off cooler that's open 24 hours a day during bow season, and generally during gun season, somebody's here to accommodate you because we have to put in so many hours over here. Well,
I want to talk to Scott also about chronic waste disease, CWD. We've talked about, and you guys as deer processors have, particularly in Tennessee, because we've already had one citation put out because someone brought in a deer that didn't meet the restrictions. So tell our listeners a little bit about that from your processing side.
Right. Well, as processors, we just want to educate the hunters, especially our Arkansas and Missouri hunters, because that's a new state that the borders were shut down as far as deboning your deer before you come over state line. So we just want to educate those hunters and let them know that you have to debone that animal before you bring it across state line.
And by debone, tell our listeners what that means.
Well, it has 100% of the bone has to be out of the meat.
That's it.
The only thing you can bring in, and if you're going to have a deer mounted, it has to be done in that state.
Yes,
from my understanding. So
yeah, and you guys, when they bring it in, you got to check this. You want to know this because this is a bad disease, folks. I wrote about it in Sunday's commercial appeal about there's no human danger that we know of, but it can decimate elk. It can decimate white-tailed deer, moose, caribou, anything like that. And so this is something we got to watch out for, isn't it?
Right, and that's the hunter's obligation. I mean, we're actually don't want to panic anybody, but they don't really know what it'll do to the cattle farmers. So
that's right.
we feel safe in Tennessee right now.
Yes.
And with that being said, we're actually on November 5th, which is opening muzzle loader.
Yes.
We're gonna have TWRA agents and biologists up here, not only aging the deer but taking specimens from them also to make sure that we don't have it in here and deal with it accordingly.
So they're going to be at your facility then, right?
Right. They'll be here opening day of muzzleloader, which is November 5th, and then they'll be back here again on the 19th doing the same thing, and that'll be opening day of gun season.
Yes. Well, this is where I've already set up my place where I will be on opening day of Muzzleloader. I will be broadcasting, whispering from the field, as everybody says, doing a live report from the McCrory farm right down the road. And you know Mr. James. And that's where I'll be that morning. And I hope that I will be stopping by and seeing you, buddy, okay?
Well, we look forward to it.
All right. Thank you, Scott, and we'll stay in touch, okay?
Thank you, Larry.
Have a great one. All right.
You too.
Scott Stengel. And I wanted to bring him in there because there is some and I hadn't thought about the cattle aspect of this, but it's a terrible disease. I don't know if you guys have talked about it much at Avery since you're in the waterfowl business, but you've heard of it, I'm sure.
I have, and I know in Mississippi there was some talk last year about some deer coming in from Texas.
Yeah,
that was a problem, and the Mississippi Department of Wildlife and Fisheries really addressed that and took control of that immediately, because you're right. It can be very devastating to an entire population. They've seen in other states like Iowa where deer, have died off in mass.
Yes, and particularly in Arkansas, the upper north-central part where I go a lot at Gaston's and things along that line, and the elk herd too. We're watching out for that. But we're going to talk to him, and then we'll also be talking a lot to a good sponsor of this radio show, Kate Hawkins, down at DeSoto Outdoor Archery. And we're going to talk to him, but we'll stay in touch with it. But today's show got some wonderful guests. I tell you what, I'm fired up with I've got helpers in here. I mean, these guys are not just coming in just to have fun. Okay, they are quality, and I've got Ron Wong. When we start talking BASS with Dave Preck, we're going to Ron. We're going to talk about them 10-foot poles.
Yep.
We're going to talk to them. Talk a little bit more about, if you don't keep up with Dave on the BASS website, he has some wonderful stories. Great columnist and editorial. And then we're going to talk. David Best will be in studio. Talk a little bass fishing, and then of course we'll have our regular Steve McAdams, and we're going to get a little report from Gary Harlan. So Ron will be here making all the serious observations about fishing. And then, I can't wait to talk to Kisik Lee. He is the USA Archery National Men's head coach from South Korea, who has just signed a new 4-year contract to be the head of our men's archery team. And going to get some great stories from him. And then we're going to close it out with a guest that John set up for me. Her name is Shannon Nardi, but now I would say it's Jerry McGinnis. Yeah, it's Jerry McGinnis' daughter. Okay, so Jerry so Ron can fit in there too. We're going to talk about it.
I can fit in anywhere.
That's right. All right, let's take our first break of the morning. Devin Walker is in here filling in for Greg Ratliff, and I know Devin's going to do a great job. We'll be right back on Outdoors with Larry Ray on ESPN 790.
You can find